This is Jack from the Afterchart.net, and this is the pre-market recording for Wednesday, the 11th of July. Our disclaimer: we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Right, ES made the IHS target, perfect retest of the high, made a couple of extra handles, a 60-minute sell signal formed, and that has made target overnight. There is obvious double top potential here, but we're not expecting to see that happen. If we see a strong break below the weekly pivot and the monthly pivot, then maybe. But otherwise, really we're just looking for retracements, establish these main support trend lines, and then continue up. Where are we likely to make that low? Well, we were talking just on chart chat, we were talking about sort of low to mid 60s, retest the overnight low, set up some positive divergence here, and chances are it goes higher from there. We like that, and we think that's the way it's going to play out here. Okay, NQ. NQ hasn't quite reached the target here. RUT has reached the target, so TF has reached the retest of this high. NQ hasn't quite made it yet, and I'm expecting it to make it. I think we're just establishing our support trend line, go a bit lower, unlikely probably to get to the weekly pivot, and then it's going to go higher, and it's likely to go through this high. So we shall see how that goes. Right, CL. CL's got a very obvious target above at a retest of this high. Doesn't have to be made now, could go a bit lower first, but it's likely to make that. And then I've got a very strong resistance area I've been talking about in the 75.5 to 77.5 area. I'm expecting to see a high there. It may not be much above the retest of the current high. That may be setting up the second high of a double top. That will give us daily divergence, and when we see that, I'm expecting to see, in all probability, a move start which will take us all the way back to here, and maybe lower. So this is a very, very nice short warming up, and as and when we have seen the full retest of this high, I'm going to be looking for an area to short from. We shall see. NG, nice falling wedge here. We made it up into the wedge resistance area. Now, I was saying on the notes last night that if we broke up from here, then we would see probably a retest of the monthly pivot. But there is an alternative here. These break up 70% of the time. That does mean they break down 30% of the time, and they tend to make target very well when they do break down. Now, what I'm thinking here is, given that we are looking an awful lot lower, and given that the target on this would be towards the high area of the very strong support area, which runs from about 247 to 255. This target on here would actually be about 255. This could break down. We could see a break up over wedge resistance today, and then a fell back below wedge support, and then a continuation down which accelerated to the downside. Taking that possibility very seriously here. And I would love to see it happen that way, because that would give us a pattern to get us down to the 255 area. So watching this with great interest. Okay, GC. GC, nice IHS here, broke up, failing. The obvious next move would be a retest this low. I don't know if he's going to get that far. I'm not sure that's a decent fit with DX, but that is the obvious next area. SI, exactly the same setup, basically. And we should see a retest of the low here too. Doesn't have to make it, but I mean, market never has to do anything. That's the obvious next target, and we may well see it. HG, I drew in, we had an original falling wedge here, and that broke up, and it established a channel, and I was saying the obvious next target was a retest this low, and I've been talking about an area below. I actually put it in wrong here. I meant the 271/2 area. We've made that overnight. I think there's a very good chance that we are making the low on HG here. I think that might well need a retest. That would set a very nice 60-minute buy signal brewing. But as and when we see that retest, I think HG is probably at a decent low. And we shall see how that goes. I think this is one of the nicest looking longs on the table. Apart from anything else, I've got a possible setup to get this back to 3.8, which would be an increase of, well, 40% from here, 35%, a lot. So I really, really like this low. Stan likes it too. We were just talking about it in chart chat. This is one of the nicest looking longs on the table right now. I love it. Okay, ZB. ZB is, we broke below wedge support. I think we're heading back up possibly into a retest here, but we think the high is in or very close. Chances are we're about to start a decent move down. I've got a bit of resistance above on TNX that needs to be broken, but we like the downside. Okay, DX. DX has been obviously we got the double top, we got the target in the 92.4 area, and we have been backtesting weekly pivot and monthly pivot 94.08 to 94.12, and that's been holding. I think I'm expecting it to continue to hold. Slight question mark over the possible retests on GC and SI there, but really HG looks cooked. This looks cooked. USD looks cooked. I think this could head straight down and continue down towards the target of the 92.4 area. I like it lower. I like it a lot. We shall see how that develops. I do have a possible, if we see a retest this high, which I'm not currently seeing any great reason to retest, but we would get a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. USD, we're seeing the inverted picture there, nice looking double bottom, it's broken up, it's been back testing weekly pivot and monthly pivot as support, and that's holding so far. We'll see, but the obvious next move is up towards the target here in the 1.1945 area. Okay, GBP USD. Stan's expecting this to turn back down fairly soon. I'm not so sure of that. We've got some decent looking buy signals on the daily, and I'm thinking this may well be an IHS forming here, a slightly upsloping one. So I'm keeping an open mind, but I've got good reasons to think this might reach the 136, 137 area, and we may well be on the way there. And if DX is retracing, then obviously that's giving a slight following wind to that move. This is very politically sensitive at the moment with the whole Brexit thing and, a potential government falling in the UK and so on and so forth. So, I mean, there is obviously, a political news bomb risk on here, but the obvious pattern setup for me is taking us back to the 136, 137 area. And it has come a long way. That would be a halfway decent retrace. Okay, USD JPY. I have been saying for days that I've been, a couple of weeks actually, that the obvious next target on USD JPY here would be a retest of this high. We're very, very close to that. We came within, 0.04 of reaching that on the main daily charts yesterday, and chances are it's going to make that full retest. Stan's thinking a bit higher to the 112 area. I'm thinking it may fail soon afterwards. We shall see how that goes. But I think chances are this is the second high of a double top on mine. I'm not sure Stan backs that up though. I think Stan's a bit doubtful about it getting back to the bottom of this move. I may be biased because I'd love to see that because it would be such a great long entry. But I think that's what the pattern setup's saying to me at the moment. We'll see. Okay, USD CAD. USD CAD is on the way down. It's been rallying a bit with the US dollar. The next obvious target on a turn back down, which I'm expecting soon, would be this megaphone support in the 1.306 area, and then when that breaks, that opens up 125 area, and chances are lower. My ultimate target's about in the 1.205 area, at which point we've got an inflection point where we may turn back up strongly, or we might go a little lower. Okay, Australian dollar. I've pointed out the rising wedge here that's broken down. Decent retracement back into weekly pivot. I'm not seeing any strong reason for this to go down any further. If it did, it might retest this low to make the second low of a double bottom, but it may well not and continue up from here. No current divergence. Right, NZ. I'm just going to doing these ones because they're chart channel instruments, so they're up here already. So no point taking them out. NZ, we've seen a nice looking rally, back testing the weekly pivot, kind of like or Australian dollar at the moment. This could be a cup with handle forming. No particular reason to think this is going any lower. I do have a possible weak 60-minute buy signal brewing here now. Where is... hang on. I don't have my... Okay, commodities, for some reason, my Dropbox doesn't seem to have copied them across, and I can't get them over in the time expected, so we're going to have to just rely on the charts today. On the possible retest of copper, would it need to retest? It doesn't need to retest the overnight low again, but I think it's a very obvious next move for it to do. Could make a slightly higher low in RTH. I'd love to see the low retest. That would give me my 60-minute buy signals, which it would be very, very nice to see. So I think ES equally should retest the overnight lows. And again, that's setting up a pretty nice looking long. All right, guys, I better get this posted. I'll catch you guys on the Twitter feed. I'll have this posted ASAP.